Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. Really great to be with you this evening for me, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in the world. And this week, we have Ardita with us, calling in from Toronto in Canada. And as you can see on the screen there, we have an awesome lineup of people for the remainder of the year. And you can see some folks there for the start of 2022 as well. And before we get Ardita up on stage, I do have a few messages from some folks in the community that I want to just share. And the first one comes from Lars, and he said, recently Ardita invited me to speak at the Experience Agile conference, where I was given the chance to introduce the huge global Agile community to exponential organizations through my own personal story. What really excited me was Ardita's ability to see the very big picture of enabling the impact multipliers for everyone when bridging the Agile and EXO communities. Great example to follow in other communities too. Sending my thanks. Next is from Yaroslav. I had the pleasure of coaching Ardita as part of her EXO consultant certification. She was knowledgeable, fully committed to the process, and a valuable presence on all our calls. Her interest in agile, innovation, and technologies, and her inspiring entrepreneurial project were a great addition to the program. Next from MB, she says, Ardita is a kind, loyal advisor and coach to dedicated leaders and organizations who are committed to creating great change and connection to our beautiful world in need. Ardita guides comfortably through her experience and methodologies which impact 10x. And then lastly, we have from Karim, Ardita is a conscientious, creative leader. She is a master of her craft and understands the depths of agile approaches and lean methodologies. I've had the honor of learning from her. I have also seen her apply EXO concepts and pair these frameworks with her understanding of business needs to support clients with solving their most complex problems. And so, without further ado, Ardita, welcome to OpenExO Live. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's so good to read those comments. Thank you to everyone that wrote those words for me. I feel humble and appreciative.
It's an absolute pleasure. We really love to get the community to share about the community, because it really is. Yes, there's lots of communities around the world, but this is one which is kind of special. And so we always start by asking the folks who are on the call to give us a bit of background about yourself, so that those who are watching who don't know you can learn a little bit more about Ardita, but also how you came to join the OpenExO community.
Yes. So Salim is not a stranger in Toronto, right? So he's from here. He's one of us. He's like Drake, right? So we have Drake and we have Salim. I've met Salim before, and it was interesting because at that time I was not very familiar with his work, but through some friends, through an event, he joined, and I ended up we were on a table and just all talking, and I heard about he was at that time running the Singularity University, so he was he brought those ideas, and they were fantastic ways of bringing together ideas and creating these innovative spaces. And then later I saw him again at one of the top 50 thinkers sessions. So at that time, I had grown up a little bit more on my mastery, on my skills, and working with leaders, and working with product focus, and working with business. So when I joined EXO, I came with a different point of view, and it probably was the right time, right? You have to grow up at a certain point to accept certain ideas. Sometimes you're not ready for it. So when I joined EXO, it was the right time for me because I was looking for a little bit extra. I come from the Agile community, and I've grown up with ways of working on taking something testing, experimenting, hypothesizing, and getting something done fast to bring value to customers. However, on my role as a coach, sometimes I felt stuck, and stuck because we all know that large organizations have that resistance to change, right? Something that we all talk about, and it's something familiar for everybody in this community. Um, when I joined EXO, I was working at a client where the CIO had actually the exponential organization book was on his recommended list of books. He had like Obama, he had his list of the books of the year that he liked, and it was interesting when I mentioned the EXO ideas to some of the people that I was working with. They said, "Oh yeah, I read the book because it was on our CIO's list." And I said, "So have we applied anything?" And they were like, "Well, some here and there, but it's hard, right? Because we're a large, big organization." So that's where EXO just opened a little door for me to see other opportunities on how to bring that disruption or how to bring people across. And I found it refreshing. I found it that, oh my God, I'm not crazy that I'm thinking things like this. There are other people that actually do think like this, and they have seen results, and they are it's something that they talk about. So I found kind of like my lost brother or sister that, that I was looking for, and it felt really like a family. I felt really at place at where I wanted to go.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. Now, the one thing that, of course, is sort of central to the whole EXO model is an MTP.
Yeah.
And so, I love to ask people about if they have personal MTPs or their organizational MTPs, because it's really great to understand a person, right? Would you mind sharing your MTP?
Yeah, my MTP has evolved. I started initially, when you join EXO, is one of those initial programs that Yaroslav runs. That is, check what would be your MTP. So the first initial one that I created was something about something on the lines of helping innovators achieve their purpose. So working with innovators and achieve higher purpose. But as a coach, I have evolved as well, and I'm not just I don't. Although I'm a coach and and I like to help the others, I also like to get my hands dirty and be a doer as well. We have tried a lot of things that we try at home, and product ideas that we want to experiment. So my MTP has also evolved a little bit into finding a little bit more about myself. What am I? So in between all of the things that I try and people that I want to help, I have discovered that I'm a connector. So I connect people, I connect ideas, I connect someone that has a need with someone that offers that. So my MTP is slowly and gradually evolving something around, um, creating abundance through connection. Because I think sometimes we feel that the scarcity comes from, oh my God, I don't have something. And if you are connected with someone that has that and needs someone to help with that, I think that's how abundance is now spread and is created. And we change that point of view that is not a scarce world. There's plenty of the things that we need, and there's plenty for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really awesome, and also something that the one thing that we know is coming up with an MTP, especially for an organization, can be really difficult, right? It's not always simple. If it's a new organization, it's a bit more simple because there's no legacy, there's nothing happening, and so also as people, depending on all the experiences we've had, that can also shape our MTP. And we have had conversations within the OpenExO community about, can you have multiple MTPs at once as an individual? Because some individuals are multifaceted and they struggle with one MTP. And so it is quite interesting. What of course is important is that the MTP is something that can then drive you, and also drive connection, drive community to you, etc. And that's the ultimate point of an MTP. Now, if we shift tack a little bit towards, you spoke a lot about the fact that you're in the agile community. You've been practicing agile for quite a long time now. The one thing we often say about the EXO model is that it doesn't replace other methodologies. It more augments, right? And so how would you say that with your agile customers and working in the agile community, in the agile world, like how does EXO add that value? What do you see that value as?
So with agile, we have a goal to get our customers to a better place, to serve customers better, to serve their customers better, to serve faster, to find value faster, to put their effort into what matters rather than waste effort. And because of that, the approach is mostly like an improvement, like it's an incremental improvement. But what I like on EXO that I couldn't find with Agile was that idea of disruption, and be clear about it and be intentional about it. There's a lot of fear in the Agile community to bring a big disruption because people get scared, and for a good reason, right? Everybody has bills to pay, so nobody wants to lose their job. So how to get that disruption in an intentional way and bring the right people on the table, while that concept of creating that organization in the edge of an existing organization, that is so powerful. And I had missed that in the agile conversations. While we were trying to do everything internally and we're spending so much time fighting the resistance, the improvements were small and percentage, right? A small percentage improvement here and there. And we're happy when something small was improved. But that powerful idea of creating something on the edge of the organization, disrupt yourself, and do that intentionally, that is something that really took my mind, my heart, and I'm like, that's exactly what I love to do, because and in certain time you still have people to see the future, to see themselves, so you don't have that fear initially, but you start also building this new world, and you give to this organization now a new future, a new point of view, a new way to see how the work can be done. It doesn't have to be done in the same way. So the desire to take action, I see EXO very much like act, right? Try something, try and learn and try and learn. While Agile also talks a lot about try and learn, again, is the speed or the fighting with the resistance that makes it a little slower, and the impact is not 10 times, it's 10%.
No, absolutely. I mean, the thing that is vitally important, though, of course, is the fact that in implementing EXO, you have to be agile, right? So if you are an organization that is implementing agile, you already are that one step closer. But as you've said, the corporate immune system or resistance to change, whatever you want to call it, is very real, and of course is there for a reason, right? Organizations want to be able to run programs that are repetitive, because those are the things that you can map and you can measure, and you know what's going on, and you don't want a disruption in that. But when your business model is able to be disrupted by another, you want to be disrupting yourself. But as you've said, that has to happen at the edge, right?
Yeah, and intentional, not just, oh, let's try something. You need to have an understanding of what you're looking for, what you're to measure in a certain way the success of your disruption.
No, absolutely. And the one thing that I think is really great about Agile is the whole idea of being able to build good hypothesis,
Yes.
right? And of course, in the experimentation attributes, in the EXO model, I mean, agile thinking is very much the type of thinking that that we say, hey, this is how you should think. But still, people really struggle with hypotheses. Now,
Yeah.
do you have, and I know, do you have any thinking towards that? Just so, like, I come across a lot of people, and the types of hypotheses that they come up with are not measurable, or are not, how do we, like, do you have any tips or tricks on that?
Yeah, it is something that I like to take my the teams that I work with, or my organizations, my clients, through. It is definitely a growth journey, because they are very much used of having these big roadmaps and these large, yearly plans. Improvement, if we have quarterly plans, a little smaller, but still they are big. And I think one of the limitations that businesses have had, and they are forced to work like this, has been the slow delivery, the slow response from technology. It has been like okay to deliver something in a year. It has been okay to have a lot of defects after you deliver something. It has been okay that certain decisions were made without that strategic view ahead to enable the speed and all of that. And because these large organizations got into a routine where large projects, long long duration to get something done was okay, and quality was okay to be not perfect, to not be good, right? They have fallen into, well, this is normal, this is okay, and they haven't challenged the thinking of thinking small, thinking testing, right? So because of that, we will need to start taking two paths in parallel. One is about getting technology to a place to understand that continuous delivery, that quick and fast pushing work to production quick. And that is going to be like the vehicle that now it can take the ideas quickly to production. But at the same time, we need also businesses and product teams to start thinking small, because they were used to think big things and wait until something is done. But no, now we need to start thinking small, because realization is quick and you can learn fast. So Strategizer business model, those guys, Alex Osterwalder, they have really good materials when it comes to helping with building hypotheses and that. But
They do. Yeah.
they do. It's fantastic material that they have, but you need now to make that more concrete when you work with a team. So that experience that you have as well, you have something really big. How can we test something small? Need to come a little bit initially as some examples, and examples can be like, well, what is the question that you have? Sometimes I start teams with a backlog of questions, not a backlog of requirements. What are the questions that we have? And then with a backlog of questions, what do we need to do? The smallest thing we need to do to answer the first question. And then based on that, what did we learn and how are the other questions? Or it can be a backlog of decisions that we need to first make, right? We cannot start directly off, go on something. Well, there are some decisions we need to make. What is that backlog? And what do we need to test about that? So I have seen very good results breaking the work, rather than start with requirements, to start with questions. And a backlog of question has been a kind of like a breaking point for a lot of people that are in the product management to start thinking differently. And then it doesn't matter if the work is like defined very well and details are in there with acceptance criteria and everything. As long as we go to the teams and we ask, hey, we have a question and we want to answer this, or we want to learn about this, what is the smallest thing we can do? And with a team that delivers quickly, we can run an experiment. You have all that system behind to monitor and to see how your customers are reacting to it and all of that. So this is on the IT. I have seen also results of working with experiments, even on construction, right? I worked with some teams that were retail stores to be renovated. And it is really how to get many trades and many construction plans and everything in place in order to make these renovations faster and quicker. And really, hypothesis worked even there. So I am proof that you can use hypothesis no matter where you are. If you start with questions, if you start thinking, well, I cannot make the decision until I know something about this, so let's do something about that first, and then work slowly. It is not very accepted very well because some organizations are, again, I want to go back to, they are used to, well, give me everything, how much and when. And you need to start changing that mindset to say, let's co-create, let's collaborate. So all these attributes that EXO has, like create community, having those interfaces that we share, having all the attributes of EXO are very useful to start breaking those boundaries.
Absolutely. And, I was chatting to a developer today and it's just speaking about how, when a project's coming online, and it reminds me of when I was in the pharmaceutical industry, you'd come with, here are the requirements we want, and the people didn't even know what they wanted. And so the requirements were actually all wrong. And I love how you're just saying, people coming with questions saying, I feel that this, and this, like, how will we do this? When could we do this? What would happen here? And having those questions then answered, then gets people to realize, oh, this is what you actually want.
Yeah.
You don't want what you've told me you want, which often seems to be the problem. And I guess that's also, what you're speaking, why people get so okay with this project takes 6 months, when actually, a startup would have got that all out in like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And so super interesting that. And I have just looked at the clock and see that we've pretty much run out of time. I told you at the beginning, this is going to go by so quickly. So, we always end off just with some words from you. Like, what is it you'd like to sort of, end off with, share with the folks who are watching here and watching the recording?
Yeah. If you are not in EXO community, join it. It is really a community that inspires, that gives you those ideas to, like, if you feel that you are beaten up from where you are working, maybe your organization is not supporting your creative ideas, join this community to first inspire yourself, but also to see if you can find techniques and ways to bring your message forward in the organizations that you are. Join. Don't be scared to try things and create communities. Be part of communities, because you will find something that really will support you, and you will find that someone has been there before and probably can share their experiences. So you get to learn from people that have nothing to hide, that they're not your manager, so you're not scared to ask questions that probably feel like silly questions, and you can be open, you can be honest, you can learn from people that have gone through this. So try things, learn, and join communities.
Awesome. Absolutely, Ardita. It was wonderful chatting to you again. It's actually been quite a while since I think we were on a call together, but it was really good to see you again. I hope that everything's good in Toronto as the winter is
coming. Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll chat to you again hopefully soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Time went by, but I really enjoyed, and yeah, I appreciate everything you guys do with this community.
Awesome. Thanks, Ardita.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. So great chatting to Ardita in Toronto. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll see you again next week.